Good morning to you, and welcome back to today's JRPG Weekly Update. Guys, it's been quite a week. Holy cow, we've got a lot of news to cover today, but you know, it's some pretty cool stuff. We're gonna kick things off pretty light though. We're gonna start as always in the indie corner and keep it as light as it can possibly be, because Toby Fox has announced that in 2025 they're going to be releasing chapters 3 and 4 of Deltarune. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Deltarune, that is an anagram of Undertale, because that's Toby Fox's really big RPG that kind of rejuvenated in a lot of ways the indie scene for RPGs a long while back. Long story short, Deltarune Chapters 1 and 2 are already out. Chapters 3 and 4 are going to be coming out very soon, but the specific release dates are apparently going to depend on the localization and console porting process. So fans will at least be able to expect something new here in the next, 13 months or so. Apparently the game's going to be coming to PlayStation 4, the Nintendo Switch, and PC via Steam and itch.io. So keep an eye out for more updates, and I'll be sure to let you know more as more details come to light. Next up from .emu, we have Metal Slug Tactics. This game will be available on Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass from day one. It's coming out on November 4th of 2024, so just 2-3 days from now, depending on when you're watching this. And it's coming out on the PlayStation 5, the PlayStation 4, the Xbox Series, the Xbox One, the Nintendo Switch, and PC via Steam, and the Microsoft Store as well. So this is going to be a turn-based strategy RPG that brings the classic Metal Slug series into a tactical setting, and every time I see this game in action, it just gives me the giddies, because I always used to love seeing the game in arcades, but I never actually got to play it. It was never really my jam. The shooting, running gun stuff wasn't really for me. Now this though looks like it just might be, and it's going to feature the iconic characters like Clark, Ralph, and Leona. If you know who they are, I certainly don't, but hey, they're in it. Yeah. Got another indie here called Beastieball. It's been developed by Wishes Unlimited and is being published by Klei Publishing, KLEI, and is launching in early access on November 12th of this year. This is a turn-based volleyball RPG that allows players to coach a team of beasties whose teamwork is enhanced by the relationships that they form, such as becoming besties, you know, beasties besties, partners and rivals and sweethearts maybe. Now the game features an open world with a diverse cast of ranked coaches, each with their own story, and players must defeat them in order to raise their rankings and compete in the Crown Series. Matches are strategic turn-based encounters on a tactical grid where players can pass, set up attacks, and anticipate the opponent's moveset. This is so ridiculous, but you know, it's cool. It's in a weird way. It's funny because volleyball in some ways feels like it's a turn-based sport. Can you disagree? Anyways, yeah, the early access version is playable from the start to finish with a typical playtime of about 15 to 25 hours, excluding the post-game content. It's going to be available on PC via Steam. Beastieball is expected to remain in early access until at least the end of 2025, with planned updates including new beasties, bosses, story events, characters, and all kinds of quality of life improvements. So if you're into weird and off the wall and off the ball RPGs, maybe give this one a look. Now this next one is called Songs of Conquest, and it's from developers Lava Potion. They've announced that the game will be launching on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series on November 12th of 2024. This is a turn-based strategy RPG with some incredible looking pixel art. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. It looks so good. It's inspired by the 90s classics, offering players a chance to lead powerful magicians called wielders through a diverse vast lands, and players can expect to manage resources, expand their kingdoms, and engage in deep combat systems utilizing troop abilities and powerful magics. The game features both handcrafted and randomized maps catering to various playstyles and ensuring endless replayability. So they say, with 4 unique factions, Erelon, Rana, Loth, and Byria, I'm probably getting those all mispronounced, each offers distinct strategies and narratives. Songs of Conquest is already available on PC and is expected to reach console players soon. For those of you who are eager to experience a blend of nostalgia and modern strategy elements, this title would be one to keep your eye on. Next, from Indie Creates, we have this one. This was originally an April Fool's joke. This was called Divine Dynamo Flamefrit, and it's now set to launch on November 21st of 2024. Developed by Indie Creates, this 2D action game pays homage to 90s games and anime. Players will be controlling Yuto Hino in top-down action stages and pilot a giant robot Flamefrit in its first-person boss battles. So kind of like Goemon, you know, when you got to control Impact. It's kind of like that, and I love it. The series will be available on PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, the Switch, and PC via Steam. Notably, PC users who purchased Card and Seal will receive access to this game on November 14, a week before the official release. Fans of retro-style games like me and 90s anime, I mean, you know what to do. Go get it. NIS America have announced that RPG Maker With is also set to launch on February 21st, 2025 here in the United States. Last time I talked about the Japan release, now it's coming to the States for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 in the West. This latest installment of RPG Maker series offers the enhanced tools and greater accessibility, allowing both newcomers and seasoned developers to create their own RPGs, I'm sure to varying levels of success. A standout feature of RPG Maker Plaza, though, is enabling users to publish and share the games and assets across platforms, including PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Nintendo Switch. Players will also be able to share custom assets and unfinished projects, fostering a collaborative community. So, with a vast array of pre-made sample games and assets, creators will have a solid foundation to start their projects, with the flexibility to craft unique assets from scratch as well. So, if you're looking to start making some RPGs, this might be a good way to go about that. I hear when it comes to RPG Maker that some people don't love a lot of RPG Maker games. But the fact of the matter is, at a certain point, the amount of work that people put into a lot of these, you wouldn't even know that they are RPG Maker. This is something that I learned from some of the interviews that we've actually been doing over on HitPoint with the various indie developers. A lot of them do actually use RPG Maker, and they aren't the ones that I would have expected. And it's wild what you can actually do with enough time and effort and development time and artists. Like, it's just a platform, and but it's such a cool thing that you can actually start with one of these and actually make something incredible. Because I remember RPG Maker 2K on a pirated copy that I played a little bit of on like Windows 98 on a really old machine. I pirated that thing over dial-up. It was like 300 megabytes to get that. It took days. It took days to get it, but man, I played the heck out of it. It was so worth it, and I got to play other people's RPGs, and they were all edgy and shooty. It's my new favorite word, dude. The RPG Maker scene in early 2000s was wild. Anyways, I'm just so glad to see that it's continuing on and that they're still making new ways to make RPG Maker games. This is cool. All right, next we've got this one, Dungeon and Fighter ARAD. which was formerly Project DW, and it's from developer Nexon. So this was officially titled with a new teaser showcased at G-Star 2024. So it's coming to consoles and PCs and mobile at some point. This is going to be an open world action RPG that brings the iconic Dungeon and Fighter series to life. Some people say iconic. I've never really heard of it, but it looks neat. And it's going to be in a new format, blending familiar action with exploration across the continent of ARAD. So it's going to be offering some dynamic battles, beloved characters, and Dungeon and Fighter universe, with Nexon promising an immersive experience for fans of the franchise, which is pretty sick. The trailer, or rather, it's more of a teaser. It looks so short. It doesn't tell me very much, but it's pretty, and that's gotta be that's one thing right there. So next up, we've got Ved Recura. Ved Recura by Summoning Clip has been announced as a fast-paced action roguelite action game. Players will be taking on the role of a character trapped in their 1000th unplayed game, adding to a clever twist to the adventure. As someone who has over 1,000 non-played games, sounds like my own personal level of Dante's Inferno. The game features 7 unique playable characters, each with distinctive abilities and playstyles. So it's going to feature intense strategic battles and challenging enemies as players fight to return to reality. It's coming to PC and Steam, but we don't yet have a release date announced. Now, let's talk a little bit about some SuperDerek news before we move on to some of the bigger news things here. I'm going to talk about me. Enough about the news. Let's talk about me for a moment. So recently, I released a video showcasing Romancing Saga 2: Revenge of the Seven. It was super good. It was a sponsored video, but this is not a sponsored video, and I just wanted to say that it was a really fun game. I want to do like maybe an experience points video talking about it, but long story short, I legitimately wasn't expecting much from this game to begin with. But you know, when Square Enix reached out and they're like, "Hey, play this game, we'll you know, support the show with a bounty of money," and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, sure, I'll give it a go and I'll talk a little bit about it." Dude, I got actually like sucked in, and it's been a little while since I've gotten really sucked into a game the way that I did with Romancing Saga 2. This remake was so good, and it's by the same guys who did the Trials of Mana remake. Chef's kiss. It was fantastic. Go check it out if you haven't already, and you know, maybe go watch the video if you haven't watched it already. I really enjoyed it, and I think a lot of you guys will enjoy it as well. And it's not a review. I don't do sponsored reviews. That just feels weird to me. It feels like a huge conflict of interest. So instead, it's a showcase. You know, I tell you about the game. I tell you, you know, why you might want to play it, what the features are, but there's no commentary on like whether I think it's good or not. That's review territory. So I'll tell you here though, it's good. Next, I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on the last JRPG Weekly update that I did. I mentioned that, you know, Baku and I over on HitPoint were trying to hit 500 subscribers after the end of October. I distinctly remember saying that. Well, you monsters, you went and subscribed early, ensuring that I ended up having to play Silent Hill 2 Remake on stream. So I did. For 7 hours, because I don't do one of those like, oh, here's a 2-hour stream, good enough sort of situations. No, that's not how I roll. I did a 7-hour stream. I didn't skimp out. I made a real go of it, and you know what? It's kind of fun. It's not my cup of tea. I don't like the feeling of being scared or stressed or anything like that, but you know, all in all, it's a fun game. I enjoyed the puzzles. Kind of reminded me of an RPG. Now, next for HitPoint, we are actually about to record episode number 100 of HitPoint, the JRPG news podcast. You know, the 2 to 3 hour episodes where Baku and I deep dive all these news discussions and talk about all the cool stuff that, you know, we're excited about. If you ever, you know, hear something that's pretty cool here and you're like, oh man, it'd be nice to hear Derek talk about that for like 20 minutes. That's the show that you go to and you listen to me and Baku talk about it for 20 minutes, maybe. And because it's the 100th episode that we're coming upon, we're trying to make it more community focused. So as a result, if you have any burning questions you've always wanted to ask me or Baku, throw some questions down in the comments section down below and we'll read them on the air and talk about them, you know? So, you know, just a little way to say thanks to the community for helping make us have such a fun show. And I would say a successful podcast. You know, I'm not Joe Rogan or nothing. In more ways than one, I'm not. But I'm enjoying the podcast, and I feel like that is the primary objective of doing anything on YouTube at this point. Just have fun. Anyways, all of that aside, it is now time to talk about some remakes and remasters, starting with this one from Bandai Namco, who have announced Tales of Grace's F is going to be launching on January 17, 2025. It's coming to PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, Switch, and PC via Steam. This remastered version introduces various quality of life improvements such as autosaves, the ability to turn off enemy encounters, and enhanced graphics, of course. Of course, the enhanced graphics. You don't do a remake without enhancing the graphics. Or a remaster, rather. Anyways, it also features the Lineage and Legacies after story, offering additional content beyond the main scenario, so fans can look forward to experiencing the classic action RPG and modern enhancements. Moving along, we have another little remake remaster, Dragon Quest III, the HD 2D remake from Square Enix. They have released a new launch trailer showcasing the game's stunning visuals and enhanced features. Players will be able to embark on a classic adventure with modern HD 2D graphics, blending pixel art with 3D environments. The game introduces a new Monster Wrangler vocation, allowing players to befriend and utilize monsters in battle. It's coming out on November 14th, 2024, so just about 2 weeks away from now, and it's coming out on PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series, consoles, the Nintendo Switch and PC via Steam, and the Microsoft Store. Now, lately, some people have been asking, like, what do I think about it? It looks cool. People have been saying, what do you think about the controversies? And honestly, I don't pay any attention to the controversies. I don't know if I talked about this last time or not. You know, the whole thing with like the whole scene of people who are just like waiting to be angry about censorship. And in this case, I don't think it's real censorship in like the idea of like someone wants to do something but big Sony won't let them, or big Nintendo won't let them, or the government won't let them. I don't think it's that sort of situation. It's more like they want that E for everyone rating, so they're making some decisions to get that, which means covering up some of the chest areas and stuff. And it's like, I find that there's so much out there to be like legitimately upset about, and this just ain't one of them. Not for me anyway. I don't know about you guys. I ain't got time to be mad about that. This is such a cool game. And like the whole type 1 or AB, type 1, type 2, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. So anyways, that's what I think if you really want to know. Now, let's move along to Ys Memoire, The Oath in Felghana. That has got a launch date coming to the West on January 7th, 2025. This remastered action RPG will be available on the PlayStation 5, the PlayStation 4, and the Nintendo Switch. It features high-definition visuals and multiple soundtrack options, including the original PC 8801 and the X68000 versions. You know, The X68000 version I could see maybe wanting to, but the PC8801, that had like a PC speaker. Like, if you really, I can't imagine wanting the original soundtrack in PC8801 version. Okay, so after I did this, I looked it up, and actually, it turns out the PC8801 is a bit of a banger. I was expecting more of like a DOS bleeps and bloops sort of soundtrack, but no, this is awesome. Listen to this. Just forgive a stupid man for speaking out of ignorance, okay? Hey, it's cool you have it, I guess. Now, the game introduces newly recorded voice acting as well. Pair that with the PC8801 soundtrack. New voice acting for the protagonist, Adel Christian, and it's going to be adding depth to the narrative. A limited physical refined edition will be offered for the PlayStation 5 and the Nintendo Switch, featuring a 14-song soundtrack, acrylic diorama, keychain set, and 4 postcards with game art and a graphic cleaner cloth. So this next one is sort of blurring the line between the remakes section and the big ones, because this is a big remake. I guess in a lot of ways they all kind of are big remakes, but this is the big announcement. Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. Do you pronounce the X? I think, is it cross? Oh, sorry, microphone. Is it cross? Is it X? Xenoblade Chronicles 10? Xenoblade Chronicles Ch? Or is the X silent like every anime? Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition has been announced for the PlayStation... No. For the... Why did I say that? Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition has been announced for the Nintendo Switch, exclusively by Monolith Soft. I mean, could you imagine if it came to PlayStation? I think a lot of people would be very happy if it did. And a lot of people would be very unhappy if it did. Anyways, this remastered version of the 2015 Wii U action RPG features enhanced visuals and additional story elements. Players will be able to explore the expansive planet Mira, piloting customizable Skells giant mecha for both exploration and combat, of course. And, I mean, if you couldn't combat in them, what would be the point? Plus, the game offers a deep combat system with a variety of special attacks, skills, and classes. Engage in online multiplayer missions, including challenging global nemesis battles. It's coming out on March 20th, 2025 for, again, exclusively the Nintendo Switch. And I'm finding now that I officially have almost no reason to own my Wii U anymore. I feel like this was one of the last holdouts. Is there any other reason to own a Wii U at this point? I wonder if it'll be forward compatible with the new Nintendo Switch, the Switch, the Super Nintendo Switch, whenever that gets announced. I sure hope so. I hope it'll have. It feels like it's going to be a late game for the Switch, and I hope that means it's going to get like the visual enhancements, right? It's got to, right? Okay. Now it's time to talk about some of the big guns, some of the AAA stuff. And I'm going to kick us off with Fairy Tail 2. Developers Gust have announced the game's opening movie and have announced that the digital pre-orders are now available, if that's something that you care about. You know, if you're a digital person, more power to you. The game is set to launch on December 12th in Japan and December 13th worldwide. Platforms include PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, the Nintendo Switch, and PC via Steam, and the game introduces an original epilogue called Key to the Unknown, providing new story content beyond the original series. So that's pretty dang exciting if you ask me. That about does it for today's episode of the JRPG Weekly Update. If you're new here, be sure to get subscribed, because I try to do one of these every time that there's enough news to actually talk about. And this news... this week has just been nuts, guys. Anyways, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you over on the HitPoint JRPG Weekly podcast on Sunday. Again, links to the new podcast channel in the description down below. It means so much to me if you could go over there and give the old button a little click-a-rooney. What is going on with me today? Have a good rest of your day, everybody. Click-a-rooney.